Hello everyone, welcome back to more chess, playing as black this time against J-Hole 507, Joel, I don't know. Hang on, no, we don't like that. We like this, right? We play the Sicilian even though we don't know what to do in the Sicilian. That's the plan. Maybe I should use the Insights Analyzer to see how my black openings are going. I don't know. Anyway, I guess the idea of the Sicilian is to get control over this square. So, I don't know. I think they do this, right? This is the response because the queen and knight are controlling the square sufficiently. And then we probably do something like that. I think that's what's supposed to happen here. Uh, Pawns are undefended, by the way. No, just develop the bishop, threatening this. Okay, fine. Well, I don't mind this. It's not contributing so much to my plan of getting control of this square. But it really, I don't know. It gives my bishop something to do. I could just develop the knight, but yeah, let's do that. Hang on. Here, I can't just take. I would have to move the knight again. Yeah, moving the knight sucks. Whoops. Hey, wrong piece. You. So we're trying to create a threat here on the center. Is that going to be hard for white to defend? I can do this. Takes would be fine, I think. Yeah. And otherwise, the bishop has to move. So I think this almost forces takes. And then this pawn they've invested a bunch of time in is suddenly not doing much. I don't know, here, and then they could move the bishop. It's not like the biggest imposition in the world. But I would have a great pawn center, and I think I would be happy with that development. Okay. So they spent 3 moves on a pawn to capture a pawn that I moved only once. And then I spent a move recapturing, so like I think I'm up 1 move in that exchange. I've improved 1 tempo, and also I have good center control with my pawns. I like how this is going. Undefended pieces. We're supposed to be looking at that. The rooks. None of the pawns or other pieces, though. And my opponent's just made this rook defended, so... Oh, also this bishop? Yeah, that's true. So these and both of my rooks are undefended. Weak points? Nothing really. I think we just develop a knight now. And this bishop, I think, would be reasonably happy to just live here. What? I can win this pawn. It's attacked twice and defended only once. Nope, it's defended twice by this knight. I could try to hang on to it. I mean, it is... Yeah, because I don't want to take like this and expose this threat. I could just castle and let them do this if they want. Is there some way I could deflect this knight? Not really. Do I want to allow push takes? I don't really want to allow that either. It exposes this king pretty badly. Once they put it here, though, I could actually take it. So maybe what I need to do is just try to hang on to this spot so that they don't win anything from Okay. Oh, but right, it takes... I don't want to take with the bishop, but I kind of have to. On the other hand, if I castle, it's even worse. The bishop is attacked. No, I can then just take with the bishop and be fine. Okay, let's castle. And now I'm fine with the queen trade if that's what they want to do. And if pawn push, I think I just take with pawn. And then probably evacuate this knight. Okay. More support for this square. This is the battleground, huh? What if I just went in for this now? There's the idea of like this sack with check, but I don't think it does anything. They are defending the queen, so I mean, I wouldn't do it now, but even in the future, I don't see it doing much. So I think I'm gonna, if they push to here, I'm gonna have some trouble, I feel like. So why don't I just go like this? Invite forward whatever piece of theirs they want to move with. Okay. This sack works now, doesn't it? It discovers a new defender of this square. Comes with check. And then I pick up the knight. And I've lost a miner, but gained a miner. And I've also gained a pawn and hurt their structure. Actually, I probably should take with queen instead of knight so that I don't walk into a pin. And I threaten this queen trade. Is there something wrong with this? I don't think so. Do they have any moves with check? I guess they have this? But they can't do that because I'm checking them, so... So now I'm attacking the queen, I'm attacking an undefended bishop. I feel like they have to capture here. And then I'm up a pawn, I'm up king safety. I'm up... Well, I'm tied on development, I guess. I'm threatening over here as well, by the way. I mean, it's not exactly lethal, but... You know, I wonder something like this. No, the queen's guarding that. Okay. I don't know. I guess they could try queen to, what is this, e2? To defend the bishop and dodge the trade, but I don't think that would be very good for them. Anyway, they're not doing it. This bishop is still undefended, but so now is my knight. On the other hand, like, oh, he looks so cool over here, doesn't he? What is this? What do I care about that? Why don't I just take your stupid pawn? Attacks the bishop and the rook. So if I take it, I'll get to trade down more material at the very least, right? But I do risk, like, inviting the rook forward, which is a slight improvement for my opponent. But I don't think it's worth, like, what they have to pay to get it. Anything else this knight could do? Not really. Oh. Oh, what about this? Here, if they defend... Well, I guess they just have to move the rook, because the bishop's already defended. But I was noticing that this is an option as well, right? So if they end up with another... Okay, yeah, this must be good. All right, my own undefended pieces, I actually have none, except for this knight, obviously. Oh, and this rook. But he's obviously inaccessible at the moment. Oh my god. That might be the worst place to put your rook. Because now, check fork, right? Defended by the knight. If they capture, I go in and just refork. These knights are monsters. I don't know why. I looked at this for some reason. Of course, just like it's on the screen. Why not look at it? But I looked at it, and for some reason, I thought it was like my opponent's name. I was like, what a weird name. Rad one. Huh. No, just notation. I could pre-move this, but in principle, they're... I don't know. There's some... I can't think of any move they would make where I wouldn't do this, actually. I don't know. Maybe I would prefer this one? I'm not really sure. It depends on what they do with the king. Yeah, I don't know. This knight is maybe in a little bit more imminent danger, so maybe he's the one I should move. But obviously not if they do something like this. I assume, though, they want to move back. In which case, I could do this, but I think knight c takes e3 is better. I'm now, by the way, actually less developed. Oh, wow, wait a minute. It's not just forking the two rooks. It's forking this bishop, which is undefended. So taking it would actually be better than trading for a rook. I always forget that. God, this is immense. I think in practice it doesn't matter which knight I take with because they're surely going to recapture with the pawn, and then I'll jump in with the other. At some point I'd like to, I don't know, do something with this bishop so my rooks can participate. Maybe it would be like this. That'd be a nice view into the king side. And oh, good news also, this is my opponent's dark square bishop. Because my dark square bishop is gone. So dark square control is a thing, an advantage, an asymmetry that might help my opponent. Since I'm ahead on material, I kind of want things to be symmetrical so that eventually we like make even trades or whatever, and at the end I'm like up 2 pawns, about to be more, but like, you know, when you're winning, I think maybe this is like overgeneral, but I think like typically when you're winning, you would like other factors to be equal rather than introduce more asymmetry, because each dimension of asymmetry is a way that your opponent might gain some advantage over you to compensate for your other advantages. And so having opposite colored bishops is A, kind of drawish, although I think I'm ahead by enough that I wouldn't worry about that, but B, means there would be positions that I would have great difficulty defending. Because I'm about to give away both of my knights, probably. And I won't have a dark square bishop, so all the dark squares would be quite treacherous. But since I'm about to take the dark square bishop, that all doesn't apply. Opponent's really mulling this one over. Which is, you know, fine. It's obviously a very upsetting position. I don't I mean, there are only 4 legal moves here, but there could be some big difference between them. I feel like this would probably be worst because it's on a light square that lets me do discoveries like this. This doesn't seem good because it's stepping out of cover. So I would expect one of these two. And I guess I would prefer G1 just because it's on a dark square and there will soon be a knight on a like you don't want your king on the same color as your rooks in principle if there's a possibility of some follow-up fork. And also on the color that my bishop can threaten. So I really think King G1 is the move, but maybe they're like thinking they're so far behind, you just have to spend a lot of time trying to find any chance to win, and that's fine. I am considering just like getting up for a quick bathroom break, actually. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. I'm going to pause the recording. We'll let the opponent think for a bit, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Was it the last video where we had an opponent just like leave in the middle of the game for 10 minutes and then resign? I don't remember. It might have been 2 videos ago. Anyway, I guess we'll go look at a puzzle while we wait. Just like, what? Lichess puzzles are down. Is the rest of Lichess okay? Our game is still happening, right? Can I like, no, not learn, watch. Yeah, other people are playing. Okay. Yuri Gonzalez Vidal. That's so weird. It's like Russian, Spanish, and French? I don't know, maybe those are not all. It's just like, I don't know, what a weird mix of names. Okay. Anyway, no puzzles. Can we do Puzzle Storm? No. Some sort of maintenance. Okay, fair enough. I've seen this page before on streams, but I've never seen it in my own games, so I haven't been able to examine it very carefully. Robot chair. Yep. I guess so. Robot's food. That's a battery. Okay, the battery is empty? Huh. Take a rest. Okay, whatever. Well, here we are. And I guess we're going to be here for 4 more minutes. I'm happy with how this game went. Let's start the review, I suppose. Yeah, I believe this is what you're supposed to do. And I think E4 is just too greedy when there's like this. I think you want like D5, or sorry, not E4, but E5. I think you want like D6. Well, right, something like this. This on Passant, I'm not. Oh, look, opponent's finally offline. Okay. So it won't be 4 minutes, I guess, just like 1 and a bit. I'm not sure about this pawn push. Oh, hey, opponent's back and there are moves. No, there aren't moves. It was just reminding me that I'm in the past. Okay. When my opponent's clock stops moving and mine starts, that's when I'll go back. Okay, so anyway, this. I don't know. I think it was fine. The reasons I had that I described in the game were like if here, then I get to develop for free. And if not here, then I get some tempo against the bishop and a great center. Yeah, so I think this pawn push was probably a mistake. Developing the knight seems fine. And this is when things got interesting. I was worried, I think, about push, because I don't have enough attackers to deal with the pawn, and I would have to run my knight away, therefore. Or else move my bishop out of the way. But I like him where he is, you know? Not really anywhere good to put him. I think at this point I was considering this sack as like something that could happen eventually. And this knight was the only thing preventing it. And then it actually came to pass. I didn't think of it when I did this. But when I took here, the obvious way to recapture is with the knight, but then I had this sack. So I think this blunder, sorry, not this blunder, this tactic was actually available to me as soon as they played knight here. Well, knight here made it worse, because you can no longer even ignore the pawn. But I think something like bishop here would have been better. Or no, it's the same problem, right? No, because bishop here takes. This sack is not interesting. Because this square is defended twice now. Yeah, so I think you needed to add another defender to this square. Pawn here also would have been fine. Not sure which is better. Oh, you know what? No, my opponent is online, so I can't claim a draw, or a victory. Only if they're actually disconnected, not if they're just using a lot of time. Yeah, I think this game went great. I don't know. Maybe I made some simple mistake in the opening, just that I'm like not familiar with the position. I guess it would be, if it was anything, it would be this pawn move. But I think it was fine. And maybe instead of castling, there's something else I was supposed to do. But I was worried about this. And then hanging my queen. Although, actually, I guess the knight was guarding my queen, so maybe it was fine anyway. I don't know. Anyway, let's watch the game end. Okay. Victory. So what do you think, computer? I've already reviewed the game. Okay. Doesn't like this move, whatever that was. One blunder. Oh, I guess that was from here to here, huh? It hates my bishop takes. That was the best move of the game. How dare you? Okay, I guess we'll find out what's wrong with it. Great. So it doesn't like castles either. But I thought this would be a problem. Oh, although, I guess, I was worried. So, suppose I just take here immediately. What do they capture with? One imagines the knight, right? Because you don't want to give up your queen. So just take. Takes. And there's no tactic yet. But knight takes. I'm still up a pawn. And if queen takes, then this sack actually wins a queen, instead of just winning a pawn. So I think actually this pawn was hanging all along, and I just didn't notice because I didn't see this tactic yet. I was scared about the tactic applying to me, but I should have realized the queen can't actually be a guard of this square, because I always have this to pick her up. So yeah, this must be it. No, bad move. What? Knight takes? What's the difference? Oh, come on. They're both fine. Don't give me that crap. I mean, it says like 1.1 versus 1.3. But okay, the same idea applies if knight takes, right? They're like, yeah, you can trade knights if you want, but you can't take this pawn back. you should just do this. Okay. And this, I thought this was incredible. But it's actually, again, wrong order. Take here. The knight looks like it's defended, but it's not because of this same tactic. So I had the idea of the tactic. I just applied it at the wrong time. I used it when it could win a pawn instead of when it could win a piece. Okay, well, that's good to know. And let's see my opponent's mistakes. Okay, so first of all, actually, hang on. Get out of here. Flip the board again. What does it think about the pawn push and stuff like in the opening? It says this is fine. Also, just going d6 first is also all right. Doesn't like the bishop move. It agrees with this. It says pushing that pawn was a mistake. Queen here? I guess it is really tough to add another defender to that square, huh? They have to do this, takes. But the knight is overloaded now. Huh. Yeah, okay. Good point. It says this isn't too bad, but it's not good. They should take. I should take with bishop. Doesn't like castles. And it says my move or pawn to b6 or oops are both fine. And I should just immediately take here. Yeah, this was the mistake that the computer points out. There's a free pawn just sitting there and I didn't see it. And now there's a free knight sitting there. But instead I chose to win a pawn. And then this bishop move was, I think, pretty bad. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. It also points out I could do this first. So I think I looked at this, but I liked the idea of making them move the rook first. And then, like, the bishop thing will still be here, and I'll be defending when I capture as well. So I don't know. It says they're both okay. Like, this one is a little bit worse. Almost a pawn worse, but when you're up 5 points, that's, like, apparently enough. A whole pawn worse, apparently. That obviously makes things worse. It doesn't care which knight I push with. And I was right. It says go king here. But also, actually, king here is somewhat reasonable, apparently. And it really doesn't care which knight I take with. I was planning knight c, so I guess we might as well. And then we just get this stupendous position. Why take there? Oh, because it drags the rook off this file or drags the king into a more exposed position. You don't want to allow them to retake with a rook here. Okay. Well, are there puzzles yet? No. Oh. It has... Yeah, this text wasn't here before, right? A fire at one of our data centers. Oh, no. Servers are down and maybe down permanently. They're working on it. Puzzles and Puzzle Storm are gone. OVH. Is that an airport code? I don't know what OVH is. No. Not an airport. It doesn't seem to be much of anything. What is OVH? Oh, it's some company. Okay, a cloud hosting thing. All right. So it's not one of Lichess's data centers. It's a data center that Lichess gets space from, which like makes sense, obviously. I don't think Lichess is a big enough service to own their own data centers. It's not the only way they make money is like donations. Okay, fair enough. Well, I don't really want to start a whole new game right now. Maybe we'll play a faster time control. We'll play some blitz. Like I'm awful at blitz. You guys will get to see it. 3-2? 5-0? I don't really. I'm not comfortable without increment. Okay, well, let's try 5-0. Why not? It's a separate rating system, so I don't really care that I'm gonna lose some here. We'll just I'll do my best to play moves. Okay, Scandi, fine. I'll do my best to. Oh, you're supposed to develop and attack the queen. Okay. I'm much more developed now. It's not clear to me what my opponent has as an advantage here. Get back to work on the center. Mm-hmm. I probably should push even further, really. Pin? I win this pawn, right? Okay, great. Let's castle. This is a file that could be fun to be on. And develop a bishop to a useful square. This pawn is sort of weak. Supported right now, but... Okay, I don't want you doing any of that, thank you. No bishop moves with a discovery. Actually, you know what? God, this pawn here sucks. I should have pushed it 2 steps. I forget why I didn't. Let's just push it again now and regret the mistake. But now I can get my knight there. Sir Melon. God, look at my rating. It's from when I played in a 3-minute tournament several years ago with like not nearly enough skill to justify such a decision. I don't care that much about this, I don't think. Well, I don't really want to have to open things up with my king, I don't think. Gotta go fast. Wait, that's illegal. Okay, there you go. Let's get the bishop to safety. There is no good safety. Here's fine. Guarding this, I don't know. I don't think a knight sack is very good. We're up a pawn. Let's try to hang on to it. I like this kind of to... yeah, chase the knight away. Get out of here, you weirdo. And then I can return with the bishop and try to coordinate on this pawn. Okay, I'm not too worried about what he's doing here. I've got it covered. We're attacking this bishop. Bishop actually can't escape, so they have to trade with their dark square bishop. This is a bit menacing, but I think my king is perfectly safe. What are you doing there? No, that just drops the knight. Okay, let's... I don't know, that was probably bad. But I want all my pawns on light squares. Yes, that's why this was good. I accept. Ooh, I don't like... Oh, knight's guarding that. Let's try to break up the king side so I can bring a rook over. I did lose a pawn, huh? But this is good? No, it wasn't. That's fine. Yeah, I get the bishop. Here? King up? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I have an extra bishop, so I should be way ahead, but I don't have time to work this out here. Push? I should have played rook here, actually. No, that doesn't work. Actually, this is pretty awkward for me. Okay, step up. That seems good. I love defending this pawn and threatening all of these. They all fall down like dominoes and bowling pins, hopefully. Yep, I don't think this one pawn all by himself is going to be much of a threat. Okay, let's just return. I don't want that bishop to have to move, and I don't want to leave the defense of this square. I could go here. Yeah, let's just break this all up. I've already got what I need on this side. I just want to keep things over here safe. I'm sure this is wrong, but it feels like it simplifies things. That doesn't work. Discovered attack? That doesn't work. They just take the bishop, you dummy. I forgot. Okay. I was like, there, you're in check. You gotta move. No, not so. Okay, I am not converting this well. Oh my god, am I doing this badly? I'm still way ahead. I just have to not lose the rook. Because then this guy's a real problem. King over? I could push, but I don't think that... Oh. No. And now... Let's just mop up and push this. I'm happy to give up the rook for that pawn if he ever pushes it. Okay, we'll do it with just the king then. He's voluntarily put him... Oh, really? Put himself on a very small section of the board. Nope, that would be stalemate. Okay. He has to go there, and it's still stalemate. Just get further away, queen. What are you doing? Okay, whatever. We'll just make more space for the king and promote a pawn. Here. Oh my god, he got me. God damn it. Blitz is too hard. I was being so careful about stalemate, and I thought this was his only legal move, and then he would have space over here, but then he moved there. Okay, well, that's blitz. I was just running out of time. This is so sad. Okay, well, we learned something. I'm sure many, many blunders. Let's have a look at them anyway, just for fun. Yeah, 3, huh? Hmm. Yeah, F7. I agree. It's a blunder. So what was the position here? Mate in 2. Oh my god. It says make a king move. Oh, right. So right now the king can't go anywhere, right? These are all covered. But you just duck away, and he has to go there, and then checkmate. Cute. I'm not. I don't have my endgame positions by any means drilled into me, nor recognize good checkmating positions. So I'm not mad about this. Um. So there's mate in 2 here as well, huh? This forcing king here, and then queen here is mate. Huh. Okay. Well, let's look at what the game thinks were my other blunders. This. Yeah, why not this? Why would you offer them a queen trade? I don't know. I would rather make a developing move. It doesn't like this. It says it drops an entire piece. Knight here? Makes the bishop move to there. And then pawn push, I guess? Oh, I guess it could go here and be traded. But this, pawn push, yeah. Look at that. I established this really deep pawn. Go after the rook? Ooh. And it's saying just give up on the rook. Okay, fair enough. It didn't like this, which I agree with. I don't think it's very good. What was I supposed to do instead? Not rook there. Knight here? Oh yeah, it does fork these pieces. So here, here. But then the bishop is defended, so what's the follow-up? Ah, pawn fork. Yeah, it's saying don't even try to save the piece. What? Oh, I see. It evaluates. Yeah, it says this move is fine. But then when I did this, it said no. I don't know what allowed it to do that. Anyway. Oh, I guess this pawn is defended a couple times. So it's not actually a fork. But you get to trade pawns and get a really imposing knight. I don't understand why that's so good, but alright. Yeah, don't play this move. Fine. What was up with my opponent? They're also, clearly, provisional in Blitz. They were actually even newer to Lichess than I am. I've only played a small number of games. But we're clearly like more alert than I was to where a possible stalemate might occur. They were doing a good job of trying to get into stalemate, and I thought I had put my queen far enough away that I was safe from that possibility, but not so. I should just put her really far away, I guess. Get her behind a pawn and start pushing it? Yeah, that would be simpler. Okay. Yeah. How's your second blitz game? Okay. Well, fair enough. I think that's enough for today then. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.